Okay, so today I want to talk about trying to get a behavior into our lives, right? How do we do that? How do we consistently do a behavior? And I was having a conversation with someone the other day, and he was talking about trying to start exercising. He sees the value in it, he knows he wants to do it, he sees how much benefit it's going to give to his life, but he just doesn't seem to do it. The reason why is because it's not something that you do. We do the things that we normally do. Our lives are kind of already a setup system. There's already the priorities that we have. We just kind of keep running these things on autopilot. And so if it's not something that you normally do, it's not something that you're doing, you know. When people say, oh, why can't I do this, or why can't I get it started? You know, it's because there's already a system in place, and we're trying to integrate this new aspect of behavior into the system, because a behavior isn't just a behavior. A behavior has a whole set of thoughts and feelings and routines around it. When someone goes to work out, you know, you've got to start thinking about when you're going to do it. Then you're going to start preparing yourself emotionally to go ahead and do that. You know, to put your shoes on, put your clothes on, go to the place, plan what you're going to do. There's just so much involved in it. It's not just doing it. You know, and where does that fit into the routine? Where does that fit into the routine of how you think and when you're planning to do the thing? It's not, you don't have a normal path and routine towards doing it. If you haven't been somewhere before, right? So someone gives you an address and you're going to go somewhere for work, or you know, you're going to a new physio or going to a new gym or going to a new wherever. You don't really know where it is, you know? And so when you think about it, you're thinking to yourself, all right, where am I going to park? Where am I going to have to go? You know, how much traffic is there going to be? Don't have a psychological picture of where it is, what's involved, whether you're going to have to pay for parking, you know, how you're going to have to maneuver into there, and you know, whether you're going to have to wait here and there. It's such a mental hurdle. It's just, you know, I don't know what to do, how to get there. So you go to a new shopping center or something, you know, and you think, oh, okay, you know, where's the pathway in? How do I get there? How long am I going to have to wait? All these things just are like a sort of a mental, emotional tax, you know. The barrier to doing it, to someone going somewhere for the first time, is huge because there's no familiarity. It's not familiar to you. It's not familiar to us. So when it's not familiar, you don't go and do it. There's a lot of resistance towards going and doing it. But once you do it for the first time, once you've gone to that place for the first time, you've gone to that shopping center, or you've gone to that appointment, you know, to go to the dentist or go to wherever. You know where the venue is. You know how to get there. It's simple. I park here. I go in there. It's just, you know how to do it. It's just that initial first time. It's that first time to get that familiarity with what you're doing. You know, when am I going to have to organize myself to go and do this thing? You know, what am I going to have to prepare? What is it going to feel like on the way there? You know, we just get this subconscious familiarity with something. The more familiar that we are with something, the more comfortable we are with doing it and with get on the pathway into doing it, you know, emotionally and physically. And because whenever you're doing something physically, there's always an emotional and a psychological experience that goes along with that, right? And having familiarity is so important to getting on to doing something. So going back to, you know, why is it that someone doesn't do something? Why is it that we want to do something but we don't do it? It's because we don't normally do it, because we don't have familiarity with it. It's not part of our regular routine. And that's the truth is, when it comes to good, positive habits in our life, we need to have it be something that we normally do. Because, I mean, doing, you know, 1 week, you know, or a few good workouts, in the scheme of things, it doesn't make a huge difference. It's only the fact that now it's part of your regular routine. It's part of who and how I live my life. This is part of my weekly routine. Installing something into your routine, it seems like such a mystery. Oh, we'll just work out, you know, just do it. But like I said, that's not recognizing and respecting the fact that there are a whole set of thoughts and feelings and experience that goes into doing it and integrating it into that what you normally do. You're going to have to take time away from the other things that you would have been doing. You know, I mean, it's not like this time was you were just sitting around staring at the walls. There's something that you're going to have to, you know, sort of, you know, integrate this pattern and path of thinking and feeling and getting onto doing the thing. And we do that if it's what we normally do. So I remember when I first started doing kickboxing, you know, the first time that I had to go there to the gym, you know, it was pretty far away, and I didn't know who the trainers were going to be. I didn't know what the experience was going to be like. Was I going to get beat up? You know, like how hard was it going to be? There was all these questions that I had, you know, and it was that initial going there, you know, figuring out the way there, you know, figuring out how, you know, what the interactions were going to be like, what was involved. Once I first had that experience, I really enjoyed it, and then I knew for next time it was more familiar. But then, you know, not immediately. It was, you know, still there was skills to learn. There were things that I had to understand, you know, more. It wasn't completely familiar immediately the first time either, right? So there's a familiarity that you keep building, you know. But because it was interesting and it was fun, and I knew it was a good experience, then I wanted to do more, and then it became more and more familiar each time. You know, and then I started doing it once a week. It's becoming more familiar, I'm enjoying it more, and it's becoming more of what I want to do, and then add on a second time, you know, and then I started doing it twice a week, you know, and then I started doing it 3 times a week, and then it's just built from there, you know, and then I just started wanting to be, you know, do other things related to that, be fitter, so I could do better at the kickboxing. And it was just, you know, watching videos on it and thinking about it more, and then, you know, always wanting to go to events, you know, and to follow the sport a bit, because I've become more familiar with it and I associate more and more towards it, and then I'm just doing more and more of it. And now it's what I normally do, you know, so it's not an effort to do it. It's part of my life, it's part of my routine. So a huge barrier towards people going out there and actually getting started on something, to planting the seeds of a behavior that we want to start integrating into our lives. You know, it's just that initial barrier of being so unfamiliar with something, and that prevents someone from really starting something that could really become a huge positive force in their life. It's just getting over that initial barrier. Get into that first experience, get into it, no matter how uncomfortable it is, and don't expect the first time that you do something that it should be easy, or that doing it once that should somehow be enough to be totally familiar with it as well. That these things aren't reality. You know, the reality is that we have to get that first experience, right? Get our head around it, get our heart around it, get our understanding of it a bit more grounded. Once that we have that first experience, that's the beginning. That's just the beginning of becoming more familiar with it. But that doesn't mean that it's immediately going to be something that you always do, or that you normally do. For something to become what you normally do, it takes years. That's why, to begin with, maybe you go out there, you get some help, you get a trainer, you get a coach, join together with a group, do what you need to do to motivate yourself to be in that space. And then when you're in that space for long enough, then it becomes familiar and it becomes what you normally do. And then you'll seek it out more and more. But getting familiarity, getting it to be stuck in your mind and stuck in your emotions and stuck in your routine, it takes months and years. At first, it's just not there. It's not there in the way that what you think about, what you're internally, intrinsically, normally motivated into. Because if it's not there, it's not there. So, you know, if you think about any other behavior in your own life, or anything that you normally do now, it didn't happen all at once. You know, it happened by starting to do something. You get into it, you know, like a hobby that you might have started. You start doing it, and then you start enjoying it more, and then you start getting into it more. You start learning a bit more about it, and then you start doing it more, and then eventually it just becomes this installed part of your life. So I hope that was helpful. And again, this is getting into the subconscious mind, getting into what is driving us internally beyond our consciousness. Right, so we tap into what is happening inside of our unconscious and our subconscious forces, and we start to get a handle on them, and then as a natural expression of that, our lives improve. You know, obviously, if we've got our handle on things, we're moving them in the direction that we would like, the things that we would like our lives to be like. So if you enjoyed that, give it a like, subscribe, and watch some more right here.